Welcome to Landis World Order. We are taking over Fort Wayne, Indiana. Landis World Order. You guys remember Channel 10, right? I'm sure you remember Channel 10, don't you?
Hell yeah, I remember Channel 10.
Oh my God, some crazy shows on Channel 10.
Some starring you. Yeah.
Me never. Come on,
a couple. One or two.
I was the innocent one in that station. When I got the phone calls on Monday night or Tuesday mornings. But anyways, my guest this evening is Jamarcus Turner from JT Comedy. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. I'm going pretty good, man. How you been?
Still alive, kicking it.
It's been a different kind of year for me, but it's been great. We haven't talked since last year.
Yeah.
They made me story editor on the show, which was great. I had a great year. I was on set a lot. I got to really be involved a lot. And then they cut the budget of the show by half, and they had to let go half the writers. So I'm one of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's okay. No, I got some really great big stuff. As soon as this strike thing is over, I got some big stuff I'm working on. So I'm not super upset.
All right. Again, in entertainment, you were doing it in Hollywood. Again, in all kinds of entertainment, no matter if you're local, national, or whatever, there's always a game plan. Because if you don't have that game plan, then you're like, well, what am I going to do next?
Yeah, I can't afford to be lost for I can't afford to be out here like trying to figure out my next steps. So I like to plan them well ahead.
So
they gave us notice though. This was not like a surprise or anything like that. They gave us notice. In fact, we found out on my birthday, which is in January, that by April they would be letting go half the staff. We didn't know who exactly, but we had some good ideas. So I started planning with my agents and my managers as soon as we heard, and we've been running. We've been really running since then. The strike isn't. The WGA strike that's happening right now isn't the best timing for what I was trying to hit the ground running, but I kind of needed a little break too. So, and this is a worthy cause to be striking. They've decided that they don't want to pay us a living wage to create shows that make them billions of dollars, and that's a non-starter for a bunch of writers.
Well, and you guys are pretty much the brains of the storylines and the angles.
We create the worlds, and then they go make the worlds, and then they feel like them making the world is more valuable than us creating the world, and they will pay us what they feel like paying us. That's just not going to work for us.
That's not fair because you guys are pretty much, like I said a couple minutes ago, you guys are the brainstorm for the celebrities and the big names who do these stories.
And the celebrities that you see out front that are advocating for us, they understand that. They understand where their bread and butter, and that we put the words into them. And not like they're incapable of talking.
Yeah.
But we write the things, and then they act the things. That's their job. They're actors, so they act the things. But we have to write them first, and that's what we do. And we would just like to be. We're asking for, just to put it in perspective for everyone who doesn't understand what's going on with the writer's strike right now. We're not asking for 20, 30, 40% of their profits. We're asking for 2%. We're asking for 2% of their profits. We're asking for the same amount that we're asking for as an entire group of 10,000 is what one executive got at HBO Max last year for a bonus.
And that should equal to you guys.
That's the equivalent of what we're asking for. If you break up his bonus that he got at the end of the year and you just give it to the writers, there would be no strike right now. We are asking for residuals on when you watch something on streaming, right? Mm. If you watch it on network television, like where you see my show, Bob Hart's Abishola, on News Channel 15, Channel 2, 8:30 on Mondays, right?
Yeah.
I get a residual check for that. In the mail, every month, I get a little check, and it helps me with my bills. It helps me with my expenses. It helps me a very, very helpful check.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of the writers that you see, Netflix, they don't do that. They pay you one time, and then that's it. And you don't get any more off of that. Even if you created the show, you won't get any more off of it. You can't sell it anywhere else. It's their exclusive proprietary property.
And contracts.
Yeah, that's just what it is. And they're trying to make it. They're trying to turn the entertainment business into a tech company, and it's just not going to work because the entertainment business is filled with crazy people like me. So, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Wow,
so.
Man,
and they're learning. They're learning in real time that they're just dealing with a different group of people. So.
That's insane, man. I didn't know that about it. No strike until I watched TV. I'm like, Oh, wow. And then
Yeah.
you said something about it, and I'm like, what are you doing? What days are you free? He said, I'm on strike. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Because what's crazy is I don't pay attention to the news as I'm supposed to, but sometimes I'm like working and I don't pay, you know what I mean? And then I say, oh, this.
Well, they gave me the honor of making me a WGA room captain this year for the show. And so I got to be privy to a lot of the early conversations about this, and I knew it was coming. Every time somebody asked me, I read an article that my boss sent me after he made me a room captain. He sent me an article about like the history of when we go on strike, and it was laid out pretty clearly from the article. It's like every time there's a dispute about residuals or new forms of income, they always try not to give us any of the money, and then we always have to strike to get some of it. And that's just because if we just ask nicely, they just won't give it to us.
You got to be rough. You got to be in the
You have
face.
to be willing to do whatever to get, you got to put your foot down.
Because that's your livelihood. I mean, you got to eat, you got to pay bills, you got to take care of kids. You know what I mean?
I like to explain to people that I worked 2 seasons on a network television show, right?
Yeah.
20 years ago. If I would have worked 2 seasons on this network television show, I would have never had to work again in my life. The little checks I talk about, they come in and help me a lot. They would have been able to buy a house. I would have been able to pay bills. I would have never had to work unless I felt like working again just off the residuals. Because there are some writers who only work once, who only write 1 episode of TV, and that maybe they don't get another chance. And if that television show is going to create millions of dollars in income over the years, they should get a fraction of the profit for their effort of creating that world, or at least that episode.
That's true.
And so it is not as... I'm not even receiving what I would have been receiving 15, 20 years ago. I'm getting a fraction of what I would have... And I'm not complaining, I'm just saying, and I'm on network. So the people on the streamers get nothing. Those streamers pay no residuals. They get nothing. They get, if a studio owns a streaming service, before a studio would sell a TV show, they would go, well, we own the TV show, but we want to sell it to News Channel 15. We want to sell it to this channel. We want to sell it to that channel. We want to sell it to that channel. It's that's how they make their money back. Now they're selling it to their streaming service. Well, they're not going to charge themselves a real amount to sell it to themselves. Yeah. They're just going to give it to themselves. They're going to basically no money, and then they're just going to stick it on their streamer, and that'd be it. They're not going to play hardball with themselves. And so we don't make any money on residuals. Like there's 3 seasons of the show I wrote for on HBO Max right now, and I don't get a check for that at all.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no system for it. That's why we have to fight.
Yeah.
That's why this fight is very, very important.
Now you got to hear the loopholes and all the craziness that you got to deal with in Hollywood. Everybody wants to do Hollywood. Everybody wants to do writing, be a star. But again, you don't realize behind the scenes on all the stuff. It's like a boxing match.
It's pretty tense. It's management, and then it's the creatives, and the creatives. We are the dreamers, and but we're not so good with like accounting, and so we need people for that, and that's what they do. And they make sure the stuff stays in order. Every creative I know isn't exactly the most organized person I've ever met, including myself. I'm not excluding myself. I mean me as well.
Yeah.
But so there needs to be a synergy between these 2 groups, and over the past there had been, but as soon as there's a new stream of income, there's usually a dispute because the people who do the counting want to keep all the money, even though we do the creating.
That's unfair to you guys because again, you guys are the brains, and you guys get to see the writing. It's like professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. They have writers.
Yeah, good writers. Freddie Prinze Jr. was a writer for a long time. Oh yeah. They've got great writers over there at wrestling. I mean, they do some great stuff, and they respect their writers over there. The wrestlers understand what wrestling is. It is part of it is the physical for sure, and they make sure to do their part by doing the physical, but also it's the selling of the show. It's the interview. It's the storylines. The storylines are what propel a good storyline could propel a wrestler's career from being mediocre to being outstanding. That's where a good writer comes in. The wrestler didn't decide. Macho Man Randy Savage didn't decide that Elizabeth was going to come out there to the ring and he was going to reach for it and they were going to, and that was going to... No, that was a writer backstage that decided that, and now we still talk about Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah, because they like Hulk Hogan and all the other ones. They got that storyline that sticks out. Again, it all comes from creative writing. Sometimes we got people that like to just go with the flow, and I go with the flow with everything because, again, that's just me because I suck at reading. I was in special ed classes. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to be the real me and go with whatever I do. And when I read scripts, I butcher them like crazy. So I just go with the flow. I'm like, this is me. If you don't like me for me, then
I'm extremely structured. I have to write. I write all my jokes down. I've got a notepad in my phone full of jokes. I have to have. I'm rigidly structured in that way, where I need to write it down. I need to have it, even if I'm memorizing it later. I need to have it written down. Even if I riffed on stage, I could riff and do something funny on stage.
Yeah.
As soon as I promise you, no matter what the rest of my set looks like, no matter how like I feel like I'm in the moment, I'm writing that joke down that I riffed on stage as soon as I come off stage. I'm a writer.
Speaking of that, you're coming back for Fort Wayne Finest Part 2?
Yeah, Fort Wayne's Finest 2. It's actually, you know what? It's the second annual Fort Wayne's Finest, because from now on, every year I'll be hosting this event here. It's about getting. There's so many local Fort Wayne comedians who are hilarious, and so many people around this area, the Ohio, Southern Michigan, Western Indiana, Southern Indiana. This area here, it's such a huge talent pool. Even Indiana, I probably will reach as far as Indianapolis, and I want to bring comics up here to experience, not just for everyone in Fort Wayne to see these extremely talented people, but for also to give these extremely talented people an opportunity to shine in a way that they hadn't before. This is a 700-person theater. It's a gorgeous space downtown at the United Arts Theater, and I like giving these people the opportunity to perform in that space. Someone who's never performed in anywhere but a bar.
Yeah.
They finally get to perform in a real theater space at a real show, and I like giving that to them.
So who's all on the
This
show
year
itself?
we have a hilarious lineup. We have Stacey Stark, who is just one of the funniest people in Fort Wayne. Definitely, Stacey Stark. Subtle, sarcastic, but hilarious. Right? Mm-hmm. We have Jesse McIntyre. He is probably, I would call him our wild card, except for we have Isaiah Gray on the show as well.
I worked
yeah,
with
that's
Isaiah.
what I'm saying. So we have two wild cards on the show. We got Jesse McIntyre, who will be playing Get Back Guy for our other wild card, who is Isaiah Gray, and then we have Jared Scott. And Jared Scott, if you don't know him, he's been doing Peppers and Punchlines around here lately. Yeah, that is amazing. He does an amazing show. That's his whole claw creation. That's his baby. But also, he's a hilarious comic. Like, Jared Scott is the secret weapon of this show, where you're going to be able to watch this show and you're going to go to it and he's going to blow you away, I'm sure. Like, I love all the comics on this show. I think they're all excellent. I would not have picked them if they were not. I just know that people are less familiar with Jared's work than other comics that are on the show. So I can't wait to expose him to them.
So when is the date and time?
May 27th. Doors open at 7, but there will be food trucks. I just left from over there, so I just found out there will be food trucks out there around 5 to 5:30. So you can come out, you can get some food, and get your ticket, and then go ahead and sit down. The doors are open at 7. You'll sit down, and you're gonna have a great show. They serve alcohol, stuff like that, and there will probably be an after party. I'll have to announce it as soon as I figure out a venue.
Well, let me know. Again, like I said, I'm willing to work with you whenever you're here.
Absolutely, I will. I can't wait. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna tell you. I'm bringing you your shirts and tickets down here, man. Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you. So the Mad Ants are leaving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking since we're talking about Fort Wayne talent in general, so I was on Facebook and I was just going down because again, Facebook used to say everything.
Yeah, so it's like a local newspaper. Yeah. That's what I use Facebook for. Is my when I'm in LA, I use Facebook as my local newspaper. My national newspaper is Twitter. Mm-hmm. My local newspaper is Facebook. If I want to know what happened locally, I go to Facebook. If I want to know what happened nationally, I go to Twitter.
Yeah. So I went down and I said Fort Wayne Mad Ants moving to Noblesville, and I'm like,
Noblesville.
Yeah.
What?
That's what it said on Wayne TV site.
Why?
So
do they have a stadium down there or what?
I don't know. I'll tag you in it when I get down. Yeah. I was like what? So we have a lot of.
And what way they were done up there and you didn't see them from?
Yeah, so it's like we have a lot of great things. Again, we're in we both grew up here in Fort Wayne. Yeah. And there's been a lot of changes, but man.
Dang, the Mad Ants. I mean, that's like in Fort Wayne, Indiana, not having a basketball team, even if it's just semi-pro.
Yeah.
Is ridiculous. I mean, we're the home of the Fort Wayne Pistons. We are where basketball started in the Midwest. We were, I think, one of the first champions for the NBA. To have another team leave like this, it's just really sad. I found out when you told me when I walked into the studio. I couldn't believe it. I just can't believe. I think there's a lot of turmoil going on with the local organizations.
I'll bring another one up after we get done talking about this one.
Yeah.
Like, you remember the Fort Wayne Fury? Master
Yeah.
P played
Hell yeah, I
Kevin
remember
Nash.
the Fort Wayne Fury, man.
I just posted pictures
You
of
said Kevin Nash played for him?
Yeah, Kevin Nash played for one game.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't
just
know
posted
that.
on my Facebook, and I'm an admin for Great American History.
When Master P joined the Fort Wayne Fury, it was like the coolest thing that ever happened to Fort Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was like at this height of his popularity, and he still wanted to play pro ball, and he wanted to weigh in, and he knew Keith Smart, and so it was like a whole thing that happened for us. Like, it was great. It was one of the best memories of my childhood. So to know that we're not even going to have a team like that here, it's really sad.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you talk about organizations. Your festival, did you hear about some of that stuff too?
I mean, like I said, I use Facebook as my local newspaper. And so when I get on Facebook and I see that 2 people have resigned in a year and they haven't even put on a festival yet, I go, well, there's probably something going on with that.
Behind the scenes.
I have no idea. I am not like, I'm not even going to like guess.
Right.
But it just seems suspicious. Like, if you move to a job and the boss is like, I can't wait to be the boss of this job. Like, some guy is like, I can't wait to run this job. And then they become the boss and they go, I'm quitting. And you go, well, what did you see that I don't know? What do you know now that I don't know that you're like, I don't think I want this job? It's like, that was your dream job 6 months ago.
It's like a snowball.
You would have done anything
Yeah.
to be in that job 6 months ago, and now you're quitting. So that's a little suspicious.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe they got some information that we don't have, and they're going like, "Oh no, I don't want to be even near this when whatever happens."
It's crazy because, again, you said you watched my shows back in the day. I used to cover music, not the music festival. I don't think music. I used to cover the festival all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, it's changed a lot. And
It seems like it would be a pretty cut and dry process, right? You get the junk food alley down there, you get the little midway down there, you get a couple of acts together, you put them down in the pavilion that we own as a city, don't we? I mean,
yeah.
Okay, so where is the? It seems like there might, if I had to guess, and this is just me guessing. Again, I have no idea. I live mostly in L.A.,
Yeah.
so I have no clue. It just seems like it might be probably having something to do with some money. Maybe.
That's everybody's.
Well, it seems that's kind of the most
Yeah.
obvious answer, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, so it's not the festival is like the festival is the festival. It does itself. So why are all these people like, what is going on here? I'm guessing eventually someone is going to dive into the finances of the festival and stuff and look into some of that stuff, and maybe they're going to find some stuff that is the reason why these people just keep quitting.
It's crazy. Speaking of festival, would you guys like to play through your festival if you had opportunity?
Oh, absolutely. I would love.
They've got a big, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they've got a huge audience and a huge crowd. I would love to do something comedy-wise downtown for the festival. I love Fort Wayne. Like, this is one of my favorite places. The problem is, this year I might be available to do that.
Yeah.
Next year our seasons start in June and they go till April. So if I'm on network.
Yeah.
So if I'm on network again, I will be available, maybe I won't, but I would love to do something with the festival, man. It's like, again, some of my best childhood memories of being down there. I would love to put on a show, even if it's just an all ages kind of show.
Yeah.
Kids and parents and families and stuff like that. We can keep it PG-13.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, kids have heard the word dick before. It'll be fine.
That'd be very interesting. Yeah, I've got a guy I can link you up with. Me and Wesley got connected with him. He does stuff with A&E.
Okay.
He does inmate to roommate.
Okay.
And he's here. He lives over here in Fort Wayne, so maybe I can connect you guys.
Absolutely, yeah, man. I'm trying to connect with everybody, and honestly, though the reality space is going to be where money is going to be being made during the strike. I don't know if you probably don't remember. It's hard to keep. I kept up with that kind of stuff because I'm a weirdo, But back in 2008, they went on strike for 105 days. Right? Yeah, I know. During that 105 days, I don't know if you remember, back in like 2008, it's like all of a sudden Survivor was really huge. Fear Factor became like a huge thing. Yeah, that's why. It's because they're unscripted shows and they can just put people into situations and film it and then cut it together and then put it out. So the reality space is going to boom during this time. I mean, that's just how it works. They need something to put on, and they're not going to keep putting the shows that I wrote on because then they have to keep paying me residuals. They don't want to do that either. They can't starve the writers by just flooding our mailboxes with checks because they keep rerunning our shows instead of paying us for new shows. So they're gonna create new reality shows. They're gonna create unscripted series. They're gonna create anything they can, gimmicky things, to keep from having to cave to pay us.
Well, I know you guys are kick ass. You'll get it taken care of.
Oh, we're gonna. Oh no, we're not gonna bend at all. I am the type of person where I'm just like, oh, we'll just fight, right? And I like that. Like that's just how I am.
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh, we'll just fight. That's fine. I didn't realize like it's also 10,000 other people exactly like me in the WGA who are just like, oh, we'll just fight. Like that was the entire mood. They have questions at the WGA meetings, right? Mm-hmm. They set up a mic, and if you want to ask questions, or you want to say something, you can get up there. And because it was so clearly the same, we all had the same energy. I never had to get up and be like, well, we got to make sure that we get up. No, the people in there are ready to fight. The writers are ready to fight. They were ready to fight 6 months ago. They were ready to fight 3 months ago. We're ready to fight now. We're going to be ready to fight in a year. So it's really about how much money the studios want to lose. Because we're going to fight. We're already crazy people. We're the ones that come up with the crazy stuff. It's for a reason, because we're nuts.
Yeah.
So if they want to push us like that, they can. We're just going to find out in real time how nuts we are. They knew we were. They knew we were willing to go on strike, and they still pushed us. And it's like, okay, well, fair enough. But now we're going to be on strike until you guys come up with a reason. And we can be reasonable if you're willing to be reasonable. But they're not willing to be reasonable. They want to keep the profit. They don't understand. They want us to be okay with it. They want to diminish our contribution while making us do exactly the same work and creating the same profits for them. But they want to diminish what we make in our contribution to the projects. They won't even let us on set. Now, if you keep up with my social media, you know that I'm on set. I was on set all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I'm on network, and I had great showrunners. I have some great showrunners who were very receptive to us being on set. You know, that they wanted us on set. They wanted us learning. They wanted us learning what a producer does, learning what the showrunner does, learning the ins and outs of a scene and how to tweak it to the way that you need it, how to communicate correctly to the other people who work on the show about what you need for the scene, right? Mm-hmm. So I was in an excellent position. But there are people who worked over at some of these streamers who have never been on set before. And I don't mean like worked over there like they were writers. Yeah. I mean like they were showrunners. And they've never been on set before. I know, that blows you away, right? Yeah, because you would think a showrunner who is also the head writer, but also the head creative. They're not just the head writer. They also do, this is the color these sheets need to be. This is the color the floor needs to be. This is the color this needs to be. I needed to be a little bit older and look older. This should be an older man's room, not a younger man's office. Wow, stuff like that. Yeah, showrunners, they do a lot of not just the writing, which they do a lot of writing. Yeah. They also do they cultivate the vibe of the show. They cultivate the scenes. They tell you part of the story without the words. That's their job. Wow. Is to tell the rest of the story without words. And they do that. And some of those people have never been on set before. And I found out at my first meeting. Because I'm on set every day. Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that everybody was on set every day. No. Some of those people have never set foot on set. On set. And it's sad. We should be deeply involved in that process. Yeah. It's important that if you wonder why some of these streamers have terrible shows that come out, it's because instead of having the head creative on set for it, they decided they wanted to save some money and not have them on set because they would have to pay them to be on set. So they have to save some money. They'd rather save the money and put out a bad product. When something doesn't make any sense, you're like, well, these two things don't even match. Why? Because the head writer and the person whose job it is to stitch those things together wasn't allowed there to see it up close to stitch it together. Wow. It's a terrible thing.
Damn. Wow. Speechless on that. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what we're fighting for. And we're going to get it or we're just going to keep on fighting. It's really simple.
You got the same thing you want to say to the fans before we go?
Now, Fort Wayne's Finest, May 27th, Arts United Theater. Please come out. All tickets are $20. You can go to my webpage. It's jtcomedyofficial.com, and you can order bundles where you can get a signed poster and a new T-shirt and a ticket for $40, or you can get a VIP bundle, which is a signed poster and a T-shirt and a VIP ticket, which is the first 2 rows. So you guys come on out. We're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna make you laugh, and we're gonna have some good food out there in the parking lot, and we're gonna make you laugh, and maybe even have a little after party. If we got time. So please come on out.
All right, see you guys on some more stuff on Landis World Order. By the way, this is the comedy part of the show. Not just Tim, but we're gonna show some weird, crazy shit that I've done in the past. So stay tuned for more. Show 3 of Landis World Order, and like we said, we are taking over. You're funny, Bone. We're taking over. I don't know, just taking over.